Welcome on back to the Double RT Boxing Show. Your host, Mr.A, talking a Tom Brown Promotions TGB. What exactly did it give us? How do we rank it? Of course, we do these for the Promoter of the Year awards. And coming in, you would say so far, can you say Tom Brown is leading the way? He finished. He was part of um, the Mayweather card last week, which was a pretty good card. So, given his partake in that and this card here, headlined by Caleb Platt and Caleb Truax, the card didn't look like much on paper. Didn't show much in person, or did it? Considering do you take the late night factor news of the most watched? Do you go off just the next day? Because this is Wednesday, of course. This is Wednesday, the 3rd, I believe. So of course we're doing the weekly Wednesday roundup, catch up, whatever you want to say. Do you take in the late news of just reported that this is the most watched Fox fight? Do you put that into Tom Brown's achievements? Like, hey, the card did that, or do you just take it for the face value of what you would say it was a Sunday morning? The card was what, with Joey Spencer. He that was a weird fight. Joey Spencer's. What do you say about his opponent? Do you think it was called fair? Do you think it was a little too soon? I do gotta say, in real time, I didn't know the referee stopped it that soon. It looked like he counted to maybe like 3 at first, but in a replay it showed he stopped it kind of quick. I don't know. It looked like the guy's body was not performing under his will as he was falling. That's why the referee kind of stopped it right away. It just seemed like his body was not under his will. So that was it. I would have liked to see more of Joey Spencer, because it seemed like his buzz did go away kind of quietly but quickly. At one point he had a nice Edgar Berlanga buzz, but then he stopped knocking people out, and that's what happens. And then in the co-main event, the heavyweight prospects, Rock and Coffee. Do you think one of those guys could take Jermaine Franklin? I believe that's his name, Jermaine Franklin. Do you think? I don't know, because those hits, those knockdowns. If they weren't prospects, you might say Coffee could be in contention for a knockout of the month, perhaps. But since he's unranked fighters, they cannot be the winners. But it's definitely a nice little fresh look on what can be for the heavyweights in here in America. Do I think they're better than the top-ranked stable fighter of Jared Anderson? I believe his name is. I think it's Jared Anderson. I believe he's called the Big Baby or the New Baby or something like that. He seems to be a little more polished than both of those guys. A little more hand speed and better footwork. So I still lean towards him to be a nice heavyweight prospect for us Americans. And then you have the main event. The main event. Caleb Plant and Truax. Did he do enough? Of course he didn't. But he won. The main thing the only thing I'm going to question with Caleb Plant is I say that for a different one, but overall the fight, Overall, the fight, he dominated. He did just about what we thought he would. Just about what we thought he would do that would cause Canelo problems. Now, him getting touched up is also, it raised alarms everywhere on YouTube. You know, everyone has some changed opinions on him now. Like, whoa, Canelo, I just walked through this guy now. You know, you're starting to hear a lot of people make some changes on the plant to beat Canelo. You know, it was definitely alarming to see, definitely eye raising. But overall, the fight was, you can say for something that was supposed to be a 80-1 underdog, it did. Like I said, do you judge it on the fact that, hey, it on paper, maybe some non-competitive prospect fights with you got an 80-1 favorite champion and some prospect fights. So it didn't look like it was going to be much of a card. But what turned out, it gave us some pretty good boxing talk, you know? That Rock and Coffee, that was a nice little conversation for some a boxing talks, for us boxing junkies, us boxing heads. We can talk about that, you know, a nice little conversation piece. And then what was supposed to be a nice, supposedly we thought, cakewalk for a Plant, Truax landed some shots. You know, it got everyone talking. You know, so do you put that into a factor on the card? Do you the talk factor, or just the fight? You know, hey, it is what it is. No extras, no added and objectives. But that's still the case. Truax did go 12 and land those shots. So the fight was an okay fight. Plant looked like Plant always has the questions in his fight though. But that was overall the most watched Fox fight in a year. Go figure, right? Go figure. The Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr.A. And that is the Tom Brown TGB Promotions card. Overall, I say it was probably I'm not going to factor in the hooplas and the extras. Just with the card, what it was. Spencer, it was didn't get nothing out of that fight, a C minus. The Coffee fight, I liked a lot. It would have been nice if it would have been longer, but for what it was action and entertaining for all 3 rounds. I say I'm going to give that a nice, for prospect versus prospect, I give that an A. There's not much more I could have asked for those guys. I think they for skill level, for what they had, they poured it out there for as long as the fight lasted. And for Caleb Plant, it's a lot I could have seen more from that fight. So I give that, you know, it was a disappointing in one way, but it raised a lot of questions in another way. So it gave me a lot of boxing, intriguing, and entertainment in a weird fashion of a way. So I'm going to give it a high B just for it gave us some questionable conversations. So what's that? Overall, the card sounds like a B minus, C plus. So we're going to say B minus because we're nice. The Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr.A. Thank you for your time and support.